right, are we ready, guys? Okay, I'll call the to order our public utility meeting of February 8th, 2021. Shar, roll call.
Carolyn.
Here.
Jennifer Peterson.
Here.
Phil Larson.
Here.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of January 11th, 2021.
I'll move the agenda.
Okay,
second.
Well, roll call vote.
Carolyn.
Yes.
Jennifer Peterson.
Yes.
Phil Larson.
Yes.
Now I need approval of the minutes of January 11th, 2021.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
The support.
Excuse me.
Roll call.
Carolyn.
Yes.
Jennifer Peterson.
Yes.
Phil Larson.
Yes.
Now we need approval of the payrolls of January 3rd and January 17th of 2021.
I'll move to approve the payroll.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, Shar.
Carolyn.
Yes.
Jennifer Peterson.
Yes.
Phil Larson.
Yes.
Okay, and now we want to go away from our agenda and go to our budget worksheet and have Leslie join us. Can we do that, Shar? So she can go home.
I'm gonna text Leslie and tell her we're ready for that, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
And she doesn't have to stay all night.
Yeah, I thought she was going to do that. I told her, I said, you can either have Jess notify you or we can go to you right away so you're not sitting around waiting because who knows how long it'll go.
Right.
That's 4C, right?
Yes. How about on the income statement? Do we want to do that before we get to the agenda? Maybe we can look at that if there's any questions or anything. We've got a bill out here. I think that you saw out from SEH that I missed in November when we had the COVID. It was between the 2 weeks between when we were going to meet and when we did meet. I got a billing in there, and then I didn't include that because I pulled all the bills from the November 24th. So I missed that one. So that was a big bill. That was like $40,000. And when you look at the budget, that's going to be one of the things that's a negative in here, but it's really not because I had to put that bill in there, and because it's not paid yet, it's going to show up in that our engineering isn't a credit when it's really not. Because we were moving all of the pump house booster station to a capital project, so it's a construction in progress. So
Right.
when she moved that out of there, it left it in the negative because she took that bill that I'm going to put in there. So just a heads up on that. We do have some other outstanding bills here that.
Have
Well,
to be
I was gonna say I can't believe how like on the mark the water came in as far as actuals to budget. I mean, I think it was like 100.29% or something. It was really, really close. The 2020 actual year to date compared to the 2020 budget.
Right.
It's like impressively close, I would say.
Well,
Electric, maybe not so much, but.
you know, every
Oh
year.
yeah, the net income, right.
It depends on how many water breaks you have in a year. A lot of that for water. And now it's so cold.
Yeah, I guess I was just surprised that water was closer to budget than electric was, because
Right.
normally I feel like it's flipped.
Hi, Leslie.
Right, because of the water breaks. It's so hard to predict that.
We're looking at a budget, Leslie.
Hi, yeah,
Thank you for joining us.
absolutely.
So we were talking about the income statement, kind of going over that year-end income statement, and that we have a few other bills out here for the end of the year. I did explain that engineering bill that we're waiting on to be entered in there.
Yeah.
And so, Shar, in the income statement then would reflect the kind of the past due arrears balances that we've carried from COVID, right? From previous, like that would be a difference from previous years for 2020. Did we have higher arrears balances?
Actually,
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
I did the reconciliation for the end of the year, and it was within $1,000 of where it was the year at the end of 2019.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, Heather did a great job before she left of clearing all those up. And we, like I said, we got customers that were able to apply for some really large grants through COVID assistance, like 1,700. I mean, some big bills that we got paid up.
Well,
So
that's
that
good.
was very helpful.
And that is really not typical. I think other utilities across the state are really struggling with big arrearages right now. And so that's fantastic, Shar. That's really wonderful.
I think for allowing us to be able to go ahead and do the limiters, that was very helpful, because I think some of them, it takes that threat for them to actually do the work to apply, even though they do qualify. They're like, well, we'll just put it off. We'll, catch up. We'll catch up later. But if they have that threat there, I think that was very helpful. Whereas some of these other utilities, they're still not doing anything. But we did talk to some of the municipals in our meeting there that, yes, they have implemented. They've already been doing shutoffs but actually, I think we were the only ones in that NEMPA meeting that I attended. I was the only one that said we're doing limiters. Everyone else did they do cuts? So, and I had explained what those were.
I just read a report that LIHEAP applications are down like almost 20%. And so people just aren't, like you said, Shar, they're not triggered to apply for assistance, even though those assistance dollars are out there. So I just think it's a remarkable job you guys have done navigating through a pretty crazy year.
Thank you.
Well, they get that information out. Shar sends them all that information, and Heather, where they can go and what they can do to get help. So, it puts some of it back on them. Why should we?
It's there. The help is there. It's just pushing them to apply for it.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any questions for Leslie? I see that the worksheet was done, and now we have to figure out if we want to raise rates like we did last year because of the increase from Duluth Water and Gas. And what do we think about MP, Shar?
So MB, we've got, as I noted on here, we've got a 6% increase coming from them. It's about that. However, we have that credit they're going to give us. But unless things change with this resolution that NEMPA sent them and they get us our refund earlier, it sounds like we're not going to get that till 2022. But we're really due. It's hard to say because we're due a refund from the adjustment, the true up. We're due an adjustment from that, which will be a rebate or a credit on our bill. But we don't know what that's going to be yet. So it's hard to say what we're really looking at. We say 6%, but there's going to be an adjustment. And we're also, if we're going into contract negotiations with them, if we end up to that point where we redo our electric service agreement, we could be looking at different rates. So it's really hard to project that right now. Last year, we did do a 5% increase for electric and a 6% increase on water.
And so, Shar, the notes in the worksheet here, there's two numbers. The first % increase, which I think is related to the actual water and electricity, and then there's the rate study number. So should those be like additive, like 4.7 plus 3.75, for example?
Correct. So that's what it was last year, and we didn't bill out that whole 8.45. We didn't do that. We went with the 6%. We didn't bill out the whole 8.45 because that's just a projection from our rate study as well. So yeah, we didn't bill out for the whole thing. But it is good to
And
look
the
at
rate,
that in a whole.
Yeah, sure. How far did the rate study? I'm sorry, I don't remember. Like, how many years did it go out from when
Was
we
it
had it
5?
done? I thought it was 5.
That's what I was thinking, 5.
I think it went further than that. I think it was it, I think they want us to look at it every 5 years, but I think it projected further out.
Yeah, I believe it did also.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly how many years it was, but I thought it was 20.
Oh, I was thinking like 10, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I might be wrong too.
Had eyes on it.
It seems like it was out further.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I can see if I can find anything on that.
I'm looking for it too, Shar.
Can I ask a question on the worksheet, or are we not there yet?
Yeah, ask away.
I felt like in a couple places, or maybe it was just one place, what's going on with the interest line, the CD and other interest?
Oh, Leslie would be happy to tell you all about that.
No, I'm not happy to tell you about that. So the money that we have in 4M right now is the interest rates are, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's like 0.04%. Like, we are not making any money on the money we have invested. And I don't think it's prudent to budget anything more. I mean, we've been getting about $100 a month in interest. And I don't see that changing in the near future. So I think that we should be conservative and budget that very low for 2021. Hopefully we'll find some place to make some money, but
it was a pretty significant drop from prior years.
Yeah.
Is that just pegged to the interest, like general interest rates? That's why it's lower?
Right. Well, and if you think about, we're only allowed to invest in very conservative kinds of funds. So we do it through the 4M fund. And right now they sometimes they'll put us in some shorter term CDs and things like that. And he's holding on because there's not even anything like that will make us anything right now.
Rate study projected through 2027. It was a calculation for 10 years from 17 to 27. And it called for a 3.75 in water increase and a 5 in electric.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
So I feel like if there's a way for us to find a way for our money to work a little harder for us, that would be good. My next question, and maybe this is for Shar, on the water sales. It looks like residential is kind of holding pretty consistent from the previous year, but the commercial sales is pretty different. Can you share what's kind of going on there?
Yeah, so my guess with that, this is when I said I was having a really difficult time with his budget this year. You had businesses that were shut down for months. You're talking restaurants, and they're still going to have electric. You're not going to see as much of a swing in the electric because they're still going to need to heat. They're still going to need to run appliances, refrigerators, whatever. But with water, you're not filling pools as often, changing the water in the pools. You're not, so we see the bigger swing, the bigger difference here in the commercial water than we do in the commercial electric. So that's what I attributed it to, was just the decline in business this past year.
That's really helpful.
Yeah.
And it's hard to project for next year. So I just kind of did right in the median, hoping that, we were going to come back. It was businesses were going to
Yeah.
things were going to get
Yeah, I
done.
didn't even think of swimming pools, but you're totally right.
Yeah, when they fill those, we're looking at, a residential home when we use like 5 units a month, let's say, maybe on the average for our average residential home. These hotels, when they change them out, you can be looking at like 247 units. They're huge to change out those pools.
Wow.
Yeah. And they would do that every so often, changing the water.
I'm glad to see our tree trimming line item still in there for next year.
Yep.
I'm sure Rocky will be happy about that.
Yeah.
Yes, and we moved that out of our regular electrical contractor and into because I had it all going to one. They didn't separate it out when I got the bill. So I had it all going under the regular electric contractor, and then Leslie moved that out for me in a journal entry. So that was awesome.
Shar, another question if I can, just curious about the conservation rebates. That budget item doubled from 2020. Just curious. It looks like 2020 was also a big year for those rebates, but just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
That one, let me get back into there because I had some more notes here. Let me go.
It's on page 5, if that helps.
Thank you. With that, we've been budgeting kind of low. I don't think it's not where as you can see, we've been budgeting for the last couple of years around 20,000, but that's not really where our 1.5%. They like us to spend 1.5% of our sales. They're not so. The conservation program isn't so much as the dollar amount as they are kilowatt hour savings, but they do like to see us spend that. And with Energy Insight, they have been kind of keeping us more at that, 1.5% level. So I did bump it up because we've been doing 20,000 and we're spending more than that on the program. So
sure. Yeah, I see it matches the actuals
for
the prior year better.
Yeah.
Those were my questions on the worksheet. And I think it was interesting to me that when there's things moving obviously back and forth in different line items, but when you get to the bottom, it's, not terribly far off from previous year.
And we moved all Pat's wages. We've been trying to, I think I explained this to Carol, is that I had it all broken out. That was kind of after his first year, I wanted to break it out into hydrants, mains, services, all that. And I could do that in fund accounting. It's more difficult in the payroll system to do that. So we thought for this next year, at least, until we get into the new software program, maybe with that, we'll have some more capabilities. It'll be easier to do, but it hasn't been. So it just makes more sense to put it all into where we've been putting it. So that's why we're not allocating to those other departments for Pat. We're going to put it all into the means.
Well, thanks for all the work on this, you guys. Leslie, Shar.
Yeah, really nice job.
Yeah.
I appreciate the notes too in here, Shar. It's helpful.
I had a lot more, but I just didn't want to give you all my chicken scratch, so I cleaned it up a bit.
I like the chicken scratch.
And then the street department equipment for water breaks. We had talked about in the past about because they do respond to our water breaks, they do bring the trucks there. We had talked about putting money towards a lease, towards their equipment lease in the past, a couple of years ago. and that was never done. So now they're breaking it down, like how many hours, and Leslie's calculating that out, and then it'll end up in this machine and equipment repair. So we had talked about like 5,000. So I thought we'd start with that and see where we go for this next year and kind of go from there. But it makes sense for us to contribute to that.
Right. So do we want to talk about rate increases, or do you want to save that for next time, or what do we want to do with this before we pass this budget worksheet?
I think we should discuss.
When do the new rates come into effect, Shar, from Duluth and from MP?
They did with this bill right here that we just got.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we should probably address it now so it's as close to aligned as possible.
Yes.
Not that it's a fun conversation or anything, but
No.
It'll make it easier too, because I've got to increase sewer rates also. Then I can send out one letter. I would include one stuffer with the bills. It would have all rates on there instead of doing separate ones.
Oh, that's good. How much is the sewer rate going up?
Jess, if you have the rate study, it's exactly what was proposed in the rate study.
I just had it in front of me. Hang on. It went from $2.90 up to $2.99. It was $2.90 all the way from 2016 to 2020, and then the rate study called for it to go up to $2.99.
Which page is that on, Jess? I'm just looking here on. Is that on page 17?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's about a 3% increase.
Okay.
Well, our rate study says 3.75 for water and 5 for electric.
And last year we did 5 for electric and 6 for water.
So is my math right that if we did an increase that reflected the increased cost of our water and electricity and the rate study recommendation, it would be 8.45% for water and 11% for electric?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. But we didn't do that last year, and we still had a net income. So we chose not to give the full pass on the full total percentage because we were looking at this similar, I don't know about for electric, but we were looking at the same rate increase for Duluth, but we only passed on 6 instead of 8.45.
Yeah, but one thing I feel like is so tough to balance in this discussion is, that's obviously a big increase, but then, the rate study does have those recommendations for a reason. And we deal in big infrastructure that's expensive. And so we might have had a good year, but if something goes wrong on the water system, that's not cheap either. So I guess that's something I always struggle with is, I want to be thoughtful of the increases that we make, but I also don't want to underfund our system so that, we shortchange ourselves in the future when we may have a really big expense.
Right, like our pump house.
Right, like our pump house, exactly.
Right, I know. But Duluth now raised their rates 4.7% this year?
Correct. So we know that's in stone here. We know these are the figures that we're getting from Duluth. This is our rate study. What we don't know is that electric component from Minnesota Power. We don't know how that's going to shake out. So that's going to be
Excuse me.
a little more difficult to project.
And you said, Shar, you think for sure that refund is not coming in 2021. It'll be 2022 instead.
They have it scheduled for 2022. That was per the discussion that
Okay.
Carol and I were at that municipal meeting. It was 2022, but NEMPA is pushing for us to get that rebate sooner and for them to adjust the electric rates for us. So we don't know how that's going to shake out. In that resolution, we gave them till the end of March. So, to have a response. So we'll see what we would know more then maybe.
Yeah, and it's also just such a hard time, a hard time for people to be thinking about these big of increases too.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Leslie, do you have any input on these rates?
One question I have, and it's only because I'm going to play the newbie card here. That rate study, did that take into account any future increases in the cost of the water from Duluth and from Minnesota, and the cost of electricity from Minnesota Power, or was it not really taking those increases into account? Like, I just want to make sure it's like not a double dip here.
Oh, I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Right.
Let's see here.
I thought it was separate, like it was just about the infrastructure and the system and not the commodity, but it would be a really welcome surprise if it wasn't.
Right.
So what their note here is the financial projections based on the assumptions previously stated indicate that a 3.75% increase in water rates each year would enable the water utility to fund its operations, maintain the recommended level of cash reserves over the next 10 years, and maintain debt service coverage of 1.10 times. The detailed financial projections are shown below. So
in the assumptions, do they say anything about the?
Yeah, I'm just going to go up further here in the report.
Yeah.
These are all tables that I'm looking at. I'm going to see projections here. Using recent performance, current budgets, and the assumptions listed above. Okay, as a baseline, we projected that.
You're probably right, Jennifer. I don't recall when I know I reviewed them when I was looking at the sewer rates, but.
I thought it was right around the time we were dealing with Duluth. That's why it's funny something wouldn't have been built in there, but.
Oh, here we go.
I guess I had it in my head. I thought it was, oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead, Jen.
No, I was just going to say my understanding was always that, the commodity price is a flow through. Whatever Duluth charges us, we pass that on. But the rate study was really about how do we ensure that we have enough to maintain the system.
Right. So here's their assumptions. In our projections of future performance, we used a number of assumptions based on historical trends, information provided by the city, discussions with the city, and our significant experience in preparing rate studies. For the water fund, these assumptions included capital improvements planned by the city, $325,000 in fiscal year 2017, funded with debt repaid by the water utility. Capital outlay to maintain the water utility assets estimated by Springfield Incorporated, ranging from $94,000 in fiscal year 2018 to $122,800 in fiscal year 2027. Operating expenses would increase between 2% and 5% each year based on historical trends. Cash reserves would earn 1% interest each year. Annual debt repayments for the 2007 Minnesota PFA loan ranging between $7,600 and $8,100. Final retirement in 2022. So
they do have an increase in costs between 2% and 5%.
Operating expenses, yes.
So would that include the commodity price? Do you think?
Or is that like meters and employee time and,
Right.
you know,
Because that seems kind of low if that's all that is. I don't know.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
yes.
I can't hear you guys.
Uh-oh.
I can take your question in a chat, but I can't hear you guys for some reason.
You can't hear anything?
Oh, now I can hear it. Go ahead.
Okay, good, good.
Was there, are you waiting for a question from me?
No, we were just discussing what those assumptions were for water.
Okay.
And whether that 2% to 5% takes into account rate increases passed on by our purchases.
I would say it doesn't. I'd love to be wrong about that, by the way. I don't know, Carol, Phil, what are you guys thinking?
Well, I think we should follow our rate study for sure, you know, and like you say, it's a tough year, you know, for everybody. We'll make up for it next year if we have to. That's just off my cuff.
I did some quick math on if you just do the increases from the rate study, you'll end up with the budgeted amount. The budgeted net income would be about the same as where we ended up this year.
So if you're thinking just the 3.75 for water?
And then the 5% for electric.
So we're a point off on each one of those about, right?
But, well, I think we should at least take the 4.7% that we're getting from Duluth. And then
Yeah.
we don't know for sure what it's going to be for electric. I could say 5 for electric because we're not sure what we're actually going to do with them. We can always change.
I mean, it seems like if we did anything less than 4.7 on the water, we'll be behind.
Right.
Because that's a guaranteed increase.
Right. Otherwise, if we add those together, it's almost 8.5% just for water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if people could do it right now.
What about 5 and 5?
Yeah. Water's our big expense.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty on electricity right now, right? About what our MP cost is going to be. But it feels like water is the bigger system expense, infrastructure wise.
It is.
So I'd rather go a little bit higher on water, knowing that, and then, go a little bit shorter on electricity if we have to.
Do you want to do what we did last year? We did 6 on water and 5 on electric.
That's what
did the rate study increase on electric?
That's what jumped to me right away. Yeah. It wouldn't be quite as drastic. We're splitting the difference, trying.
Right. So that would be 6 for water. And what do you think, Jen?
Yeah, I think that feels responsible. I was just kind of chuckling. I feel like we need to take an ad out in the paper to say it's not 11%. Remember that headline last year?
Yeah. No, but this time we're going to have 3% for sewer, so it's going to be 14%, he's going to say.
Maybe when we put it in our bills to our customers, we explain it. And we
Yeah.
might have to take our notice just for Puck next month. You know what I mean?
Yep, I
Explain
agree.
that it's not going to be 14%.
And I even think maybe we can do even a little bit more explanation than we have in the past, since we have the space on that format now, and we can talk about what we're trying to do here. You know, I feel like we're trying to keep the increase reasonable, but also make sure that we're, you know,
Covering our costs.
covering our costs and ensuring the safety of the system.
Yeah. And we had a one-page stuffer that we sent with the bills last month. It was a full one-page stuffer that had the rate increases.
Last year,
Mm-hmm.
you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was, I thought that was very informative. I should have included that, but I didn't do a rate change or anything on there, or projection.
Has Duluth given us an explanation on why the water went up 4.7?
What's that?
It was all from that Duluth water rate study, and in order for them, because they have a lot of mains and stuff that are very old, and they're replacing them. It all comes from the old water rate study, right?
Yes. That was when we originally got that rate reduction, but we were also going to get that rate increase. That they were going to keep that rate increase, but then they adjusted our rates to keep us at the same price as Rice Lake and Hermantown.
So we're still in, because that was a multi-year.
That was the one I was
deal,
talking about, that I think it was at least 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
And we're still in that, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess I entertain a motion to do our rate increases.
And that would be a 6% for water.
And a 5% for.
So 11% total.
No.
Well, between the two.
You don't want those, Phil.
Was that a motion, Phil?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, Char.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Jennifer Peterson?
Yes.
Phil Larson?
Yes.
And then how about passing the budget? We
can approve the budget, and then Leslie, do you think you could make those changes for us?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the budget with the changes.
I'll second.
Roll call, Char.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Jennifer Peterson?
Yes.
Phil Larson?
Yes.
And thanks for all the work you've been doing, you guys. That's great.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, thanks for having me. I'll let you guys get on with your meeting.
Well, you lucky
Thank you,
girl.
Leslie.
Good night.
Good night. All right. We're going to go back to old business, water maintenance contractor update, Char.
We had a water break.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was right on. That was right on their right on that main. It was the 1 1/4 inch blow off. And that was really difficult to get to. Luckily, we were able to shut off just the one customer. We didn't have to shut down the main or freeze it or anything. We were able to shut off the one customer to repair it, but it was on our side of the it was on our main. So
That was on 3rd Avenue.
nope, this one was on Kirkus Street.
Okay.
It was the new house that we just got water to last fall.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
did they have to dig that up, the road?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Hmm.
Well, that's too bad.
Yep.
But everything went okay?
Yeah.
And everything is, the water is flowing and the lights are on even when it's 45 below zero or whatever craziness
Knock
it
on
has been these
wood.
last few days.
We've got one
How-
frozen water. And I'm not sure what that, how or what, but one business.
Oh,
And yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why that happened, but Pat was dealing with that today. Just getting the key on the stop so that they could thaw it out. So it wouldn't be on our side. It's definitely on the customer side, but they have partial basement there, the old bakery building.
oh,
Yeah.
there
Kind of a
used to be, we used to have a problem there. Once in a while, there used to be a fountain
Exactly.
and that would
Yep.
freeze in that park there.
Yep. And then that was shut off. That's been shut
Yeah.
off for years when that building was shut off. So I'm pretty sure didn't have anything to do with that. And I didn't hear back from Pat this afternoon on if they resolved it or not, if they were able to get a contractor out there to thaw it. But
yeah, and they did work on the side of that building this last summer, did they not? Did they have the foundation dug up there?
oh, I don't know. They might have.
I believe they
They
were,
just knew there's new owners in there. So
I
they
think they were doing like waterproofing. It looked like they were digging alongside the foundation there on the park side.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So then let's go to 3A. How's Pat doing?
Good. He's doing good. He got that call this weekend, and yeah, so he called and let me know about it, but it ended up coming in. Guy wanted to take care of it, wait till today to take care of it. So yeah, things are going just fine.
Okay. And B is MMUA capital letter and 2020 year in review. And this is informational.
Yeah, it's just informational. I just thought they had some, with all the bad that we've had, it was good to see some nice things in here. So some good things. I just thought it was kind of need to pass it on, whether you guys wanted to read it or not. I read through it. And
It'd be nice. I read in the MMUA update about the vaccines for utility workers, and I think, you know, they're on the list for after long-term care facilities and healthcare workers and all of that. But it would be nice to get some vaccines for Pat, and I don't know, you, Shar, maybe whatever folks can qualify for.
Yeah.
Shar, you're on mute, I think.
Shar,
Patty,
now I can hear you. Oh,
how about Jen? Phil?
Now I can.
yeah.
Okay, we got froze up there for a second.
Oh, okay.
My internet connection is unstable. I don't know if everybody else's is, but yeah, I'm hoping so too. Pat said the same thing. He talked to the clinic and he mentioned that he was in one of those the what do you call it? Not emergency care worker.
Essential workers.
Essential worker. Yes, he fell in the essential worker group. So he's trying to get it, and I'm hoping that soon. I talked to my doctor. I'm hoping soon I should be on that list with the at risk. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the NEMPA update. I see the next meeting is February 17th, and you were going to go to that, Shar?
yes, we just got that late this afternoon. The agenda for that, and you know, like I said, you saw in here what we've got going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it looks like they want to get going on that.
yeah.
Well, I think we'll write it out for a little while anyway.
Yeah. My hope is that Minnesota Power comes through.
Oh, and then now on 3D, we got that booster pump station. You got that all figured out, and this money is being sent out tomorrow?
Yes. Yep, that's what I told Matt. It says, I'll get it approved. I'll get it approved.
And then Char's going to talk to Matt about getting us a building permit for our substation building, just so we have all of our ducks in a row there before we get
Just
too
to make
far
sure
along.
to make sure he's taking care of that. Carol and I were talking about that fencing. I don't know what other permits we're going to need, but hopefully they're taking care of that because I haven't done anything with that. So I'm hoping that that's part of what Matt is doing, is taking care of our building permits.
Yeah, when I talk to
Are those from the city?
Yes.
City permits?
city permits, we still have to do those even if we are part of the city, but we have to do that. Even if we're not technically charged for it, we still have to meet all the setbacks and all that kind of stuff. So that has to be done.
Yep.
Okay. Well, the Minnesota Power, this is 3E, and that the Duluth Loop Reliability Project. Now, we didn't even know if we were going to be a part of that, right, Shar?
Well, I attended that meeting one night, the 7 o'clock meeting, or whatever, when it was on a Thursday night, to get more information about it. And really, they're in the pre-planning stages. Jen probably knows about this, but it's really, they're just they don't even have a path yet. They've got an area. So they want to hear from people, you know, do we want to hear, not, don't put it here, burial grounds, that kind of a thing, it sounds like. They're just trying to plan a path for it. One of my questions in that meeting was, is this going to improve the reliability of that LSPI 223 feed, which is our feed that we get from the old Lake Superior Paper Industries that comes up Highland. That's our main feed into town, the one we'd have had issues on. And they were going to have someone get back to me, but that's been a couple of weeks and nobody has. So I'm gonna have to reach out to them. I just want to make sure if they're doing that, they include that area too, if they're making changes, and making sure that's looped in there, as because I don't know why we could have issues on that line. That feeds the Bayview Heights area, us, the mobile home park, I think. So
yeah, I'm looking at the map online right now, and it's like Shar said, it's not very precise, but it looks like it kind of follows St. Louis River Road across Highway 2, and then it crosses over Levake, and then down over kind of by Bayview, and then it kind of goes over to Vinland, and then over down into Duluth. So that's kind of the skirt of Proctor that I can tell.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see as that progresses where that's exactly going. Then we have our final draft of our CIP report, and they did add a few projects that we thought maybe should be on the list, or they put them on a separate list.
Yeah, they put him in a separate one, which was really nice. I thought that Tyler did a really great job with that. It was good to break those out and compare those against each other instead of having that be part of the whole huge picture. So that was great. That ended up turning out really good, and that was helpful because, especially if we're looking at that South Proctor feed.
Well, they keep talking about expanding down there, but they don't want to do anything with utilities. And I thought they should know what it's going to cost. It's going to cost. So that's good. Okay.
Everything looks good. No comments, no additions, nothing else for them, because I told Tyler I'd get back to him after our meeting. I said I thought it looked great, and yeah, I'd let him know.
And Tyler did that?
Yes.
Yeah, everything. If you looked at some of this stuff, we'd be raising our rates 100%. Right. All these projects everybody wants to do. Okay. financial statements. We have our January power bill, and you can tell
Oh,
it's
how about the CIP rebate? We got, that was the one they split
Oh,
at
the
the end of the year, and they added another one, or then they split it to the beginning of this year, half last year, half this year.
Oh, okay.
This is for the CN for lighting, retrofits, LED lights, and a very VFD on the air compressor, variable frequency drive.
You need a motion for this, Shar?
Yes, we always do for the bigger projects,
Right.
not for the little ones.
So the rebate's $4,260.46.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to pay this energy conservation improvement bill
To approve the rebate.
rebate.
I'll second.
Roll call, Shar?
Carolyn,
Yes.
Jennifer Peterson,
Yes.
Bill Larson.
Yes.
Now we have our power bill.
Yeah, we got another little jump here.
Yeah. Our graph is working.
That is working. I think we're going to see it jump even more on the next bill with
Yeah.
this.
It is what it is. In our Superior Water, Power and Light, and Minnesota Power maintenance bills, we have any questions on those?
No.
Did you have any questions, Adam Shar?
No, to me, it just seemed like the Superior Water and Light bill was kind of bigger, but maybe it's just because the Minnesota Power bill is so small this month. You know, we haven't been doing much. It's been so cold. They haven't really
Right.
been doing a whole
Shar,
lot.
have you had any more solar applications or contacts lately? I know sometimes there's a rush at the end of the year, but nothing, no new customers looking at that.
I had one that I talked to, and it was because we were dealing with dual fuel. That's a whole nother issue. But I had one that was considering it, but they just said the payback is not there yet. So yeah.
Okay. We have our bills for approval. 5A. I can make a motion to approve the bills.
I'll support.
Sure.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Jennifer Peterson. Do you have a question?
Jennifer?
Did she get frozen?
She might be froze.
I said, can you guys hear me?
Now
I voted yes.
Okay.
Approve the bills.
I thought there was a question.
I'm not that far from you, Shar. My internet is also not awesome tonight. My kids are complaining that Netflix is buffering, so life is tough up here.
Oh, funny. Phil Larson?
Yes.
And then Jess? Jess?
Yep.
Well, I see our newsletter, they just put it in here, but next month we want to maybe have a whole page for rate increases and stuff.
No problem.
We can explain that.
Well, we can do it. We can add one extra page. That's what we can do with our folder inserter. So we could still do the newsletter and then have one extra page. If we do more than that, then it's hand stuffing all the bills.
Yeah.
So, but we can actually do a whole one pager for the rate increase. I don't know if we want to say anything on the back of the newsletter, or that's up to you guys, but the one I already have prepared that I've used, it's a full one pager, and it throws out the rates, what they're changing to on there and everything.
Yeah, and then you can explain that it's not going to be 11% or 14% increase. It's going to be. Okay. All right.
Hey, Jess, can I ask who had the yellow ribbon note added? That's so nice to see that on there.
I think that wasn't that Sally's idea?
Yeah, Sally made this all about recognition. So that was a very nice newsletter. I just saw this when I was actually printing off the packet because she was recognizing people she didn't send it to me, and I knew she was going to put me on there. So yeah, that was Sally.
Yeah, congratulations, Shar, on 28 years.
Well, it won't be till the end of this year. It won't be till December, actually, that I started. And I told Sally, I said, I started in December of 93, but it wasn't official full time until May of 94. So, but it's been a little while.
It's been a while.
Well, hopefully by then we can have a party in person.
Right.
And then pet license, Jesse. I would still advocate for lifetime pet license because people just don't go every year, you know.
You know, the one thing that we did in Floodwood is you had to renew it when you had to renew the rabies. Because if you do a lifetime, they're not going to submit their rabies certificates when they renew it. But at least as a pet owner, when you go to get the rabies renewed, then you know, oh, I have to renew my license too.
Rabies,
you know, and
every 2 or 4 years.
I think it's 4, 3 or 4.
I just got mine, yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm super biased, but I really love the yellow ribbon note. So
I will tell Sally. I'll pass that on.
And then, you know, we got all these applications now, and we've kind of rated some of them. Shar, do you think we should whittle down some of those?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Shar's got a clear front runner in her ratings.
Well, I thought she was good too. It's just that, you know, some of these people, they might not want it if they're not getting enough money or something. Who knows? You want to keep some people on the list just in case, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if somebody else wants to rate it, if we can throw a couple of ratings, if we want to do a committee. I don't know how we want to do that. I just wanted to get in all of you know, my comments and everything that I pulled off. If I was just going by, you know, their education experience, words per minute, some of the things we asked for, computer knowledge, you know, Word, Excel, so forth. So I just kind of pulled those things off of each one and then added some of my own comments on some of them. Oh, I don't know. I mean, if, you know, maybe we could get, if anybody else wants to rate them, I mean, I don't know if you want to do a committee. I don't know how you guys want to go about this. But this is what I've came up with so far. And, you know, I think 5, 6 is a good number.
So you haven't done interviews yet?
No.
Or you have? Oh, okay. Sorry.
No.
I was thinking that you had already interviewed them and this was your rating after that.
No, this was just our rating on who we should interview.
Got it.
So I just rated on, like I said, on who we should interview.
How many do you want to interview?
I think 5 or 6 is good. Don't you think, Jess?
Yeah, I would say 5 or 6 is good too. And then today Megan and I called all of these applicants to make sure they're still available and interested. And I think only one person pulled their application. We're waiting for a few messages from a few more, but.
And there was one that had a 1 rating on mine, so it wasn't one of the front runners.
Oh, okay. So do we want to, from 2.5 to 3 interview?
I would say so, but I don't know if anybody else wants to rate them besides just me. You know what I mean? Is there anybody else? I mean, if you feel differently, this is just me going off of, their education experience and, my personal feelings. But if anybody else wants to rate it, this is who I came up with.
Well, I had rated.
What I'm saying is I just don't want it to be all on me when you say this person really didn't work out.
Right. Well, mine aren't that far off from you.
What's that?
My ratings weren't that far off from what you rated.
Oh, good. I'm glad at least we had a good feeling about the top ones anyways. Did you get a chance to anybody else get a chance to go through them? Jennifer, Jess?
I did, but I didn't have as organized of a rating scale as you did. I think I just stacked them in order that I liked. So I'm just kind of going through my stack here, but I think it's fairly close. I want to say I pulled out like 10 that I thought would be good, and interviewing 5 of those is fantastic.
Yeah.
And are we going to form a hiring committee, or who's going to take care of that?
Well, I want Shar and I wanted Jess and maybe Megan, because she's going to work right next door to this person. I want them all to be able to work.
Yeah, I had thought we kind of talked about that last time, and that was the plan, Carol.
I mean, we have had commissioners do a lot of it. I just didn't know how involved everybody wanted to be.
Yeah, and I'm fine. I just curious.
Do you want to be on the committee?
No, I would not. No. I think you guys are better suited for that, really. You have deal more with HR and.
What about you, Jen?
I think you have you just named 4 excellent people. I don't think you need me in that mix.
Okay. Well, we can look at it more, and if Jess wants to do some ratings, and maybe Megan, and see if they know anybody or could get along with any of these people.
Maybe what we could do,
I will tell you.
Oh. Maybe what we could just do is, pick the top 5. And I can definitely help you set up interviews. I know you're swamped right now. We can just set up some interviews, and then if the commission's okay with it, we give some recommendations. Does that sound okay? I'm just worried that if we wait too much longer, some of these qualified applicants might not.
Exactly. I mean, it's been a while.
And from my perspective, I don't feel like we need to have another commission hearing to decide who to interview. I mean, I feel like, if we designate the committee like we just talked about, I feel like you guys should just run with it. I don't want to hold it up anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So me, Carol, Jess, and possibly Megan.
Yes. Well, and it just depends too if everybody's available, and we have questions from last time we can maybe tweak.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody talk about? Are we good? Thanks, everybody.
All good here.
I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
I'll second.
Sure.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Jennifer Peterson,
Yes.
Bill Larson.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
All right.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you. Nice to see you.
You
See you,
too.
Paul. Bye.
Jen, I heard you had a real live Yoda. She left me.
She left you. She had to go
Okay.
probably deal with Yoda. What do you mean Yoda?
Well, baby Yoda. Penny goes to daycare with her.
Oh,
Yeah.
So-
And Elliot has a little Yoda, but
oh, cute.
bye.
Bye. Have a good night, Carol.
You too.